Hello students, welcome to the online class of Computer Studies on behalf of Southern School affiliated to CISE New Delhi. So in this lesson I shall discuss about user interface. So what is user interface? At first let's see the definition. It is a linkage or medium through which an operating system establishes communication between users and computers. So the link or the bridge between the users and the computers is actually user interface, and it is provided by the operating system of computers. Now user interface is divided into two types. That means operating system provides two types of interfaces by which a user is linked with the computers. Number one is CUI. CUI stands for character user interface, and number two is GUI. GUI stands for graphic user interface. Okay, now what is character user interface? But before that I want to tell you that CUI was provided by early computers. Okay, so modern computers do not use CUI. So now the definition is, in this type of interface, computer operators used to interact with the computers through commands that were typed through the keyboard. Okay, so in this type of interface, characters were involved while entering a command for the purpose of executing a task. That's why this type of interface, user interface, is known as character user interface or CUI. Okay, now standard input device in this type of interface is keyboard, because CUI did not support any graphic or image on the computer screen and did not support any pointing device such as mouse as well. That's why computers having CUI were very hard to operate. Now an example of CUI is MS-DOS, means Microsoft Disk Operating System. Now graphic user interface. So as computers having CUI were very hard to operate, CUI gradually became outdated and was replaced by graphic user interface. So graphic user interface is, the definition is, in this type of interface computer operators can interact with the computers through graphical illustrations. Graphical illustration means icons, pictures, etc. So in graphic user interface, a mouse is used to move the cursor around the computer screen, and by simply clicking the icons the user can run an application instead of typing commands. So in CUI, user interact by typing commands using keyboard, but here the user can interact through graphical illustrations by using mouse. That's why standard input device is mouse here. That means in case of graphic user interface. And one example of graphic user interface is Microsoft Windows operating system. Okay, and another thing, as the users can interact with through the graphical illustrations with the computers, that's why computers having graphic user interface are very easy to operate. Okay, now we will learn the difference between CUI and GUI. So on the left hand side CUI and on the right hand side GUI. So number one, in CUI users interact with the computers by typing commands using keyboard, and in GUI users interact with the computers through graphical illustrations. Number two, CUI is very difficult to operate, and here GUI is very easy to operate. Number three, In case of CUI, standard input device is keyboard, and in case of GUI, standard input device is mouse. Number 4, old computers used CUI, but modern computers use GUI. An example of CUI operating system is MS-DOS, that means Microsoft Disk Operating System. And an example of GUI operating system is Microsoft Windows Operating System. Okay. Now we will learn about booting. So what is booting? Booting, as you can see the definition, booting is a startup procedure that starts the operating system of a computer when it is turned on. So when we turn on the computer, then the operating system starts. The operating system gets ready to perform our task. That is known as booting. Okay. Now what is the purpose of booting? Purpose of booting is very clear. To put the computer system into a state of readiness for operation. Okay. Now booting is of two types. Number 1 is cold booting. So I am writing here cold booting. And number 2 is warm booting. So what is cold booting? I will write the definition. Okay. It refers to the general startup procedure to start the operating system of a computer when the computer is in which state? Off state. Okay. Now how it is performed? Everyone knows how it is performed. It is performed by pressing the power button on the computer. So it is performed, I can write here, it is performed by pressing the power button on the computer. Is it clear? So now we will learn about warm booting. What is warm booting? When the computer system stops responding or system updates require, or I can write need the system to be restarted then the computer then the computer needs to restart under software control. Software control. So under the control of software, we need to restart in case of warm booting. Okay. With switching off, without, under software control, without switching off the power. That means we will not touch the power button. Okay. This is known as warm booting. Okay. So this is cold booting and this is warm booting. Now how warm booting is performed? Warm booting can be performed in three ways. It can be performed in three ways. Number one, by pressing the restart button, not the power button. Okay, restart button. This is number one. Number two, by clicking the restart option available on the startup menu. Okay, that can be done by using a mouse. And number three, by pressing CTRL plus Alt plus Delete keys command combination. So you need to press CTRL, Alt and Delete keys together. Okay, and then you can perform warm booting. So these are the three ways. Okay, so that's all for now.